All right, we got more hosts than games tonight. It's AP that way, DC, and then Schlong's down there too. What's going on, boys? Good to see all three of you today. Last day before the All-Star break. Giannis downgraded a few minutes ago to questionable with his knee, so we'll see if he plays tonight. Valentine's Day was yesterday. AP is off his deathbed now. How are you feeling? First of all, I talked to you a few times.
Like a new person, man. I feel good.
Why?
I've never been that sick in my life. It sucked. It was terrible. I mean, I don't like missing stuff, and I feel like a little bitch, having to message DC, like apologizing. Hey, man, you got to deal with Holden again. I apologize. I'll find a way to make it up to you. But just deal with him. Well,
he wasn't happy, and then he won his 150.
Yeah, we got the two big winners on this one. 150, 100K every week. I mean,
what's up, man? DC, have you bought anything besides for dinner at Fogo de Chao last night?
No big purchases. None planned, really, to be honest. You keep on grinding. What can you do? You take the win. I mean, Schlong can give me some advice. He wins 100K every week. What, you make a big purchase every time you hit the cheese? Schlong, you'd have like every luxury item in the world if you did. So now, keep on grinding. You got baseball season coming up, so a nice bankroll booster. And did go to a nice dinner last night. Ate about twice as much steak as I should have, but it was delicious, at least at the time. And yeah, feeling good, excited to have a little break for the NBA All-Star Game. Allows me to kind of really dive in and get ready for baseball season, Super Bowl, and then NBA All-Star break or win. I really get going on that stuff. Take a lot of pride in baseball stuff. And honestly, early in the season is when I've had the most success. And I think, members that follow my stuff have had most success just because if you're on top of it with everything, with any new sport, when a new season kicks off, you're going to get off to a hot start, which I'm sure we will this baseball season as well. So nothing crazy. And 3-game slate tonight, All-Star weekend. I know is it in Schlong, I saw you're going to the games. Is it in Indiana? I don't even know where it is, to be honest. Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm going Saturday to like the skills, dunk, and 3-point contest. Not going to the actual game.
That'll be a fun time. So, yeah.
Well, because you get to grind the All-Star game like DFS slate, which is a super underrated slate in my opinion.
I don't know if you were on it, but I talked about that too. Like I love the All-Star.
I think
game.
I was.
It's great. Yeah.
And then
are you guys surprised with Jaylen Brown in the dunk contest? That was like when I was looking through like all of the stuff, 3-point shooting contest, dunk contest. That just threw me off. Jaylen Brown doesn't seem like a dunk contest type of guy.
He's better than Hawkes. I was watching Hawkes the other day. It didn't seem like
I bet he'll be good. It's just you never see like a name like that enter the dunk contest anymore. I mean, these guys are always scared.
Dunk a ball. Jaylen Brown is not a prolific dunker, is he?
No, I mean you don't.
No,
not often. Super athletic though.
But
he can't dribble what? He can't dribble left. Is it left or right?
He can't dribble left. Mac McClung is back. Hawkes, Jake. They couldn't even get Obi. They had to get his brother Jacob Toppin, and then Jaylen Brown. But there's no question Schlong's doing the right thing because I actually think the NBA All-Star Game is fun. There's 2 All-Star games I enjoy: NBA and Major League Baseball. But the slam dunk contest, even though the guys suck, is still going to be fun. It doesn't matter. Plus, you can be betting on it.
Mac McClung's a great dunker.
And he's going to get
I need to look at odds for this.
Yeah.
My only problem with that is Mac McClung is literally not in the NBA.
They call him up for the G League every year to dunk.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. He's the white guy that can dunk, so he's obviously.
They should the fans should be able to vote for who is forced to be in the contest. That's especially the dunk contest. Get Zion in there, get the dunkers in there, man. The guys that we want to see.
Yeah, they could. I think didn't they take a year or 2 off the slam dunk contest a while ago? I don't know. I feel like they did, or at least they should have. But yeah, it definitely was better, Jake, but I still think the game's kind of fun. You're watching at least 12 Hall of Famers play basketball on a pickup game. There's no defense. There's tons of dunks, and then they play defense the last 2 minutes. I like the game itself. I think
the best thing about the actual game is like, and if we get a DFS contest around it, people still play Luka. People still play,
Jokic.
and those guys don't give a shit, man. They don't give a shit at all.
Jokic might pull up with a out of left field hamstring injury or something, so he doesn't have to
I don't
play.
think he cared yesterday either. That was an insane.
He's not happy Jamal Murray didn't make it, though. He's pissed off. Like, legit pissed off that Jamal Murray didn't make it. I don't know if Murray deserved it, but, defending champs have one player. That's all you got. You got one player from the world champion, so that's a little light. Schlong, what'd you do with the lady yesterday?
We went to a lovely dinner, and then we took our dog to a cocktail bar after.
Was Mateo just hammered? Totally wasted?
Mateo loves booze.
Yeah.
So you just have to like kind of keep him away from your drink. Thankfully, he's like 19 pounds, so he's not too hard to keep away from anything.
Okay.
But he had a fun time. She had a fun time. I had a fun time. I think it was the first day I'd like taken off playing in probably 7 months. So felt good to get a little break in there. I love All-Star break because for the aforementioned reasons DC said, I also like playing NHL. And like the NHL contests, I don't know if they've put them up for Friday, but I guarantee they're going to be massive for Friday. And then, I think it's a pretty good MMA card Saturday. Definitely be playing that, probably build that, and then head to dinner and head over to the stadium.
We always have our NHL show too. I used to host it, but I think we got more NHL guys now that actually know the sport and follow it every single day. So we'll probably have something going on, aren't we? We have a great
NHL team.
Matty Ice
who hasn't tried it. This is a great opportunity to hop in on it Friday.
Well, we got AP, Matty Ice, and EJ.
Yeah, Matty Ice, EJ. We got Quick Party, Wiley. I mean, very deep, very, very deep NHL.
Saul gets in there from time to time. Yeah. He's a big NHL guy. So
tennis. I mean, the tennis streets too. Like I was Tuesday night. I was on that show, and I thought I'd like ship tennis. And Susie's like, no. There's one match left, and it was like some value match, and the dude just went absolute ham, like broke back-to-back, serves and just absolutely screwed me. But still, the tennis streets are a ton of fun.
Yeah. When you think NASCAR, you think me. Me and Stats are definitely hosting the NASCAR show. I think there's someone else doing that too.
Got a Millie Maker Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's just a huge show.
That's my favorite race too. It's just such a good one.
And Rubio.
Yeah.
Rubio will be there too. You guys bet NASCAR? DFS?
John bets NASCAR. I play NASCAR DFS like every week. It's one of my favorites.
Fun, right?
Yeah. It's a ton of fun. I mean, Daytona is kind of a shit show because it's like just pray that your guys don't crash until like the last 10 laps and then you actually root for them. So it's kind of a fun sweat to like you're like anti-sweating your guys crashing is basically all you have to do at Daytona. Like the other races have a little more nuance, but Daytona used to be an absolute print fest in cash when people like didn't play like just you don't play anyone ahead of 25th position. You just play all your guys at the back in cash. So if they do crash, you get like -1 instead of like -50. And people didn't used to do that, and it was just free money.
So we got that. We got a couple things that are going on in the world of basketball. I don't know if you guys saw Isaiah Stewart from the Pistons. He sucker punched Drew Eubanks yesterday in the tunnel of the Suns arena. And they actually he's pressing charges, which I always find interesting. Like you're in the NBA and you get popped by another player. Isn't it kind of against the code to go to the cops for that? Like, don't you have to get the shit beat? Like if he broke his jaw, I get it. But if you just popped him and gave him a busted lip, like how do you go to the cops for assault?
That's different if it's not on the court, right? If it's off the court, then I don't know. That's pretty low. And we don't know the circumstances around it. I don't think like you never see players get charged for shit that happens on the field of play. Baseball, hockey, basketball, you can pretty much get away with anything. But if it's off the field, not during a game, then all bets are off.
AP, what if, let me think of some people here. What if Uncle T sucker punch JT at the RPS party, would you say, all right, it's just a busted lip, don't call the cops?
I mean,
or does he call the cops?
I don't think JT is calling the cops. I think Uncle
JT's
T is going to be in a world. I mean, why in the world would you sucker punch, JT Hayes? Like,
Okay, what if it was the other?
he
way
might have
around?
a few bodies. I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
All right, what if JT sucker punched Uncle T?
Uncle T probably deserved it. You know, who am I kidding? He probably deserved it. So,
you ever been sucker punched?
me? Yeah, one time. It wasn't really sucker punch, but it was from a good buddy too. Back in high school, one of my buddies was coming out of like wood shop, and it had snowed, and it was like the perfect snow, to where you could make snowballs. And he came out with this beautiful chair, and he just got it. I forget what it is or whatever, but like it needed to dry, needed air and everything, and threw a snowball, and it just went all over his like beautiful chair that he designed. He came up and just laid one on me, and I deserved it though. I definitely deserved it.
You deserved it. You didn't even do anything.
Yeah, but I didn't think he was gonna. He was a buddy of mine. I didn't think like think about a buddy of yours like literally actually like punching you. That's how it was. But I deserved it, man.
JT and Uncle T are friends too. DC, you ever been sucker punched?
Kind of a similar story to AP a long time ago. Good friend. It was New Year's Eve. I don't really remember it, but occasionally I'll have a few too many drinks and turn into a drunken asshole.
Shocker.
And it sounds like that's what happened. And I got clocked pretty good by, a guy who benched like 450, and my jaw was sore for like 3 weeks. So.
Seriously, it was sore for that long?
But everyone that was there was like, man, you fucking deserved it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I probably did. So. And
then Schlong, I don't even know if Schlong, have you ever been in a fight? Like, ever?
Yeah.
Really?
I've been in one fight, which I won in 7th grade. I got suspended for 2 weeks.
Nice.
You just retired.
1-0, baby.
Yeah, 1-0. I retired from fighting, and then I don't know, like when we were first drinking in like high school and like using fake IDs to get into bars and stuff afterwards, we were like all walking back to my buddy's place, and there's like this big construction area. I hit my friend in the head with a traffic cone because I thought it was funny. And then he's like huge. He's 6'10", 280. Mm-hmm. He's like a big dude. And he runs up from behind me, form tackles me onto the ground. I hit my chin and like my shoulder onto the curb. And so I probably deserve that. I'm not sure I deserve being tackled onto pavement for a construction cone hit, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't a fight. He felt like bad about it afterwards. He just gets very drunk and doesn't really know his own strength sometimes. And he's a great guy to go out with just because of that. Like no one will ever fucking like mess with you. But yeah, that was the closest I had been. It wasn't really a fight.
No,
it was just
drunken,
like
middle school,
just drunken antics.
I think the last good fight I was in middle school. I had a steak knife and a trombone, but the story is not as good as it sounds like. But those two things were definitely part of it. So you were 1 win and a half a loss, Dante. We'll call the second one a draw, Dante. We'll say the second one he was in was a draw, and that was it. I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys about, and I had no idea this was going down too. Did you guys see the story where the Warriors try to trade for LeBron and pair him with Steph? Did you guys see this story? Because it was fascinating to me that both owners got together. They ran it past LeBron. LeBron's like, no, I don't want to trade. He didn't want to do it, so he kind of nixed it. Then the Warriors and then the Lakers themselves just went up the chain and said they weren't going to do it. But, I mean, at that point, could LeBron have even saved the Warriors this year, guys? Any of you? Could LeBron save the Warriors? It's not happening, but it was definitely discussed.
I mean, the Warriors have turned things around. I mean, how do you even make that work? Because you got to keep Draymond, because Draymond and LeBron are like, best friends.
Yeah.
I mean, if Draymond stays, then I mean, that would be a highly competitive team. You'd have to ditch Clay, obviously, Wiggins, or you'd probably have to give up some young pieces like Kaminga and Podzimski.
Sure. I mean, you have to give up everything.
I wouldn't give up Kaminga, man. He's been so good this season. He's taken his game to like an insane. Well, I mean, for LeBron, you probably do it, but
Yeah.
It's the
But
end.
do the Warriors even need to do that? I mean, they got what, like 4 championships?
Come on.
If
you're the Warriors and you can pair up Curry, LeBron, and Draymond, you send whatever else you need to do to make the deal happen and try to win another championship, right? I mean, that seems like a no-brainer to me.
It's pretty open this year too. Like if a team were to like make like a super trade type of move, but yeah, I think it'll make the playoffs super fun.
Yeah, it would have made the.
Do we think that Steph beats this chick in the 3-point contest?
No, I think the woman beats her.
So she's shooting from the WNBA line, right? I think that's huge
with the WNBA ball, right?
With the WNBA ball,
yeah. She's gonna be.
I might take her. She's like plus 200.
What?
That has to be the sharp side, man.
Oh, I gotta bet
that. I want to bet that too.
I'm looking at FanDuel Sportsbook now. Once we got started talking about me going, I was like, I gotta fire some bets.
So that's up right now.
100%.
That is.
I don't even know her name. I don't know where she plays, who she plays for, and I don't give a shit. The only thing is that Steph's been going bananas.
So
he's been hot.
She's plus 172 on FanDuel. Steph is minus 225.
We talked about this before. That shit's definitely rigged. The chick's winning this, no question about it. Steph Curry, come on,
it's not rigged. It's not going to be rigged. I think she's going to beat him.
We do have to bet with the progressive side on this one. Let's go all in on the chick.
That's what I'm saying. That's all.
Where do we find this bet on FanDuel?
Just go to NBA All-Star Weekend betting odds.
All-Star Weekend. Here we go. 3-point contest winner.
Wait, she said, okay, so I need money.
This is a separate contest.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this would change things, though, if she has to shoot from the NBA line.
Shooting from the NBA range. I mean,
it has to be at those odds, man.
No. You guys.
Yeah, you have to read the fine print on these bets, too.
What's the fine print?
What range she's shooting from. I don't know. It's something new they're doing this year.
I can't even find this damn thing, and I'm on the All-Star thing. So, oh well, that's fine. I'll have to do it another time.
Steph versus Sabrina 3-point shootout. Holden, it's right there. Like, see, I don't even.
What's
know
her name?
Ionescu is.
Yeah.
This is a good question for Rubio. Rubio, man, no one knows the WNBA more than that guy right there. Just go hit up Rubio.
The shooter,
Come on. He coaches women's college soccer.
Like, he does. That's where he met his woman. He used his power to manipulate.
He used a position of authority to get his lady.
Right. That's exactly what he did. He's a sick bastard, like Rubio. Imagine doing that. Just coaching, high school girls.
I still remember he sent us this like little hype video that he wanted to put on. I think it was a little hype video he wanted to put on Twitter where he was like schooling up his lady in basketball. It was to get ready for the battle between him and Mangone.
Such a
still remember.
Idea. There's no reason for that kid to get married, by the way. I know he loves her, but he should date her for like 10 more years. He's way too young. He's got to sign a prenup too, because he's winning a lot of money on this DFS stuff.
Not everyone is as jaded as you, Holden.
I mean, I'm not. I don't need to tell you what I think about that. I think you know what's going to happen to you too. 3-point contest winner. Lillard's the favorite. Halliburton. So Lillard's 390. Halliburton's 450. Trae Young's 550. Beasley, Cat, Mitchell, Brunson, Lauri Markkanen. Any thoughts on the 3-point contest, guys?
I'd probably take a shot on Mitchell and Brunson at those.
Can you bet against Trae Young? He's like actually not that good of a 3-point shooter.
They don't have a no prop on these, which kind of sucks. But
yeah,
maybe they might put up two-way markets like will the player advance, yes or no, like closer to the event.
I can't believe Grayson Allen's not in it, man. His like 3-point percentage numbers are insane, like 46 something percent, just like ridiculous. The guy does not miss.
This feels like something that Cat would win, right? Some worthless ass competition, soft ass Cat.
He wins like the skills contest every year.
He wins the skills contest. Yeah, it's the shit that doesn't matter that he wins. Good for him.
I could bet. What's the odds on Cat? I could get behind that actually, because it's kind of outside of Dame. It's like pretty wide open.
Cat's 7-1.
I like that.
You know the favorite? All right, so Mac McClung is the overwhelming favorite to win the dunk contest, minus 190. Then it's Jaylen Brown plus 420, Jacob Toppin 6-1, Jaime Jaquez plus 650. Like, how is Mac McClung not going to win?
Because like if it's very close, they might give it to like the actual NBA star to maybe like entice them to do it more. Say Jaylen Brown has like a ton of fun. He tells all his buddies, "Oh, the dunk contest is actually fun. Maybe you guys should do it instead of just pussing out on it every year."
It really is a shame we never got LeBron in the dunk contest, did we? I mean, he never did it. Never did it. And that's the one guy I think all of us would have loved to see. All right, so we got a 3-game slate tonight. Jaquez is going to win, Benair. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Yeah, that'll turn the tides for sure, Caleb McLean. All right, guys, we got a little 3-game slate. Let's take our time on breaking down the overall thoughts on tonight. AP with just 3 games. And again, I think the Giannis news is obviously going to be huge. He was downgraded to questionable. Lillard's questionable. There's some bigger names out. Then there's Scottie Pippen and Derrick Rose are out too. Triple J, Conchar, doubtful. We're waiting on news on Ant Edwards, Luke Kennard as well. So just a 3-gamer. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so and things start late. I know people will roll into Discord and, ask where the cores are at and everything. Typically happens, but keep in mind we had an 8:30 Eastern start, so plenty of time to take in and digest the news. I know I like that quite a bit. Just, kids' activities seem to always be like right at the worst time for me, but I don't think I'll be missing news tonight. So a lot to wait for here. Jaren Jackson Jr., doubtful. John Conchar, doubtful. Luke Kennard, the big piece of news there. He is questionable. He's been running the offense there. So the Grizzlies are going to provide for some nice value. We want to see what the starting lineup looks like. Santi Aldama, Vince Williams are going to be nice, really nice plays, kind of in that mid-tier range. Aldama's 5,900 on DraftKings. Vince Williams has been a stud, man. I think he was a couple shy of a triple-double not too long ago. It was against the Bulls, too. Yeah, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals, and 13 points. So Vince Williams, a guy that can really rack up the peripheral stats. But for me, on the Grizzlies side, definitely going to have a ton of interest. Gigi Jackson, the other guy, 4,900 as well. But I just want to wait for the news. I want to see who the starting who the starters are here. If it's, I would assume Jordan Goodwin, likely starter. All of these guys are going to grade out as really, really strong plays. So the question then becomes, how many on a 3-game slate is too many? So I'm curious to see what these guys think about that, depending on how things shake out, especially with Luke Kennard. But I mean, it could be a slate where you're playing, 3 to 4 Memphis Grizzlies. On the other side, Dame looks like he was upgraded to probable, and then Giannis was the downgrade. Obviously, that's going to be a situation that we have to keep an eye on. If Giannis is out, we would upgrade Brolo. We would upgrade Bobby Portis. I think Jake Crowder actually would be fine as well. But again, we're going to have plenty of value on the Grizzlies side, so it might negate, Jake Crowder's value just a little bit. And if Giannis is out, I mean, what an awesome matchup for Dame to just go balls out. I might take a stand on Dame in this spot against a G League-esque Grizzlies team. If he can't get it done against these guys, then I have no idea when Dame is going to get it done this year.
All right, DC, let's get your thoughts real quick on the 3-gamer. Then we'll get to Schlong and we'll break them down individually. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, of course we don't know. It's the NBA, but I bet Giannis sits, right? The midday downgrade on the last day before the All-Star break, get him a little extra rest. He's obviously a guy who is, just takes on a heavy workload all year long. They don't need Giannis, or they shouldn't at least, to beat Memphis. So, yeah, I do think Giannis probably sits this game, which makes it way more interesting on both sides, right? Because it becomes way less likely to blow out. The Milwaukee defense takes a big hit, losing Giannis on that side of the ball. The Memphis guys are, I think, way more safe with Giannis off the court, just in terms of keeping the game close, getting their minutes, performing well while they're out there, all that stuff. And then Milwaukee becomes amazing plays on the other side too. They're still going to try to win the game if Giannis sits. So like AP said, I haven't played much Lillard this year, but he would become an awesome play if Giannis is out. We're already missing Middleton. At that point, yeah, you can look at guys like Crowder, Connaughton, Porter, Lopez, all of them, I think, become pretty interesting plays if Giannis does sit, which, again, I do expect. Obviously not going to have this news for a long time, but we will have it before the slate starts. So, yeah, this game looks awesome, especially if Giannis is out, and obviously we expect Jaren Jackson to sit. Conchar is doubtful. They're already missing so many guys, but then Rose, Pippen, Laravia. I mean, Luke Kennard questionable. Like, we're going to see the Grizzlies. I mean, they're going to just punt this season into the sun in the second half of this year after the All-Star break. Maybe they kind of get started on that tonight. So, yeah, I think there's going to be just kind of almost like infinite value on the Grizzlies. I kind of expect Kennard to sit this one too. That's just how these last couple days before the All-Star break is gone, a lot of the questionable players have ended up sitting out. You certainly understand why. I would expect that to continue in this last day. So, yeah, guys like Aldama, Goodwin, Gilliard, Vince Williams, I think could have a legitimately huge game here, especially if Kennard sits as well. But even if he plays, I think he could go off. So, yeah, Gigi Jackson is looking pretty good recently. He looks like an awesome play at 4,900. Really, really good first game to kick off this slate.
And then Schlong, before you get just an overarching thoughts on the 3-gamer, you having a gut feeling about Giannis getting downgraded during the middle of the day and whether or not he'll play? Because that's never a good sign.
Yeah, I think he sits here. I mean, they're still 12-point favorites, so I think that suggests that the betting market would have him playing. Like, I don't think the Bucks are 12-point favorites against anyone, like even with how thin Memphis is. So if you think he sits, I don't think it's a bad spot to bet Memphis here, like plus 12. Like I think Memphis, like even a depleted Memphis team can keep this close against the Bucks without Giannis and Middleton. If Giannis plays, I obviously like him. I would like not play Dame at all, but my like for him would go way down, and pretty much everyone else on the Bucks team. I mean, he basically does everything for them, and everyone knows it at this point. So yeah, I mean, Milwaukee is completely dependent on the honest news. It's a super hard game to break down for you guys without having that news. Like, I would lean towards them sitting midday downgrade day before the All-Star break, like as you guys said. But I mean, to me, the betting line indicates that he's playing. So, right now I'm building it as if he's in. It's given me, decent amounts of these Milwaukee guys because, they're good plays standalone. But the guys who get the biggest bump if he sits, I would say in order, are Dame, and then I had this listed. Dame, Portis, Lopez, Beasley, Crowder, Connaughton. And then if they were to start like a Pat Bev, it would be whoever the starter would be for Giannis. So that's how I feel about that situation. Memphis, I mean, I think Vince Williams is one of the best plays on the slate. And then, Goodwin looks like a good play to me. The Memphis bigs look like good plays to me. Gigi Jackson looks very solid to me. Lamar Stevens has been really good for them the last couple games. So it would not surprise me if he got more run here, kind of see what they have in him before the All-Star break type of deal. He's only 3,400. So I like that play. It kind of depends. Once again, it kind of depends on if Conchar and Kennard sit, they're down to absolute bare bones. So, these guys would have to play tons of minutes, and that would just make me naturally higher on Memphis. If those guys are in, I think it introduces a little more risk, especially to the guards.
All right. Very good. Let's get into it here. AP, we'll start with you, but before we do so, I want to remind everybody or let everybody know 7:30 tonight. So a little later It's going to be Big T and JSU. We're not doing the traditional up to lock show, which is why I'm hanging out with the guys today. So it's 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be on playback.tv. You'll have JSU and Big T. They'll run through Saber Sim a little bit with you. They'll help you build your teams. They'll have all the news by then, and you could ask them questions and sweat the games with them too, because on playback, you can actually watch the games with them. You can pick the games you want to watch. They pick the games they want to watch, and you just sweat out the action, whether it be DFS or live betting. So that'll be 7:30 tonight. And if you're interested in signing up, go to playback.tv. If you want to join RPS 15% off your first payment of a monthly plan. AP, let's do it, man. We got a lot of question marks as far as injuries in Milwaukee, Memphis. Again, Giannis downgraded. Lillard's still a question mark. Triple J's questionable. Middleton, Scottie Pippen Jr., and Derrick Rose are all out. Kennard, Conchar, they are questionable. So a lot of question marks for this game, but maybe you can kind of talk about, all right, if Giannis is in, here's who I like for Milwaukee. If he's out, here's who I don't like. And then get into Memphis too, buddy.
You want me to go over this game again, Holden?
Yeah, because I wanted you to react to whether Giannis is in or out.
Oh, okay. I got you. One thing too, just about the playback tonight. Make sure you guys tune in. Last week, Big T and JSU, they did the screen share. They brought up Saber Sim. They walked through their process, and they did some live builds right there on the playback. So I know I tried tweeting it out. The YouTube version of that, you can watch it on YouTube, or you can go directly to playback. Make sure, and I'll do that again tonight, but make sure that you catch that show. I thought they did a phenomenal job on there. And I want to start doing more screen share type of stuff too, specifically using Saber Sim, because there's a lot of educational things that we can go over with it. My other comment kind of on this slate, just like I remember it vividly last year, like this slate, Giannis actually got hurt, tilted everyone. Hopefully he doesn't play tonight, because man, that brought back nightmares. It was like a 7% owned Bradley Beal that just like nuked the slate. I mean, it was a very, very interesting slate. So what I'm saying is it's the last slate before NBA All-Star break, before all of these guys go on vacation. Okay. Think about how we all feel right before vacation. So you got to keep in mind, embrace the variance, plays that you normally wouldn't want to play or that are projecting to be lower owned. Don't be afraid to bump those guys up. I'm talking about like, and we'll get to this game later, but I'm talking about like the Jeremy Grants, Anthony Simons, like those type of guys. If so, just kind of going back over it, if Giannis is out, Holden, I want Bobby Portis, I want Brook Lopez, and Damian Lillard as well. I think Malik Beasley would get bumped up as well. And then I would just overall, I think the viability of this game and creating game stacks around it would hold just that much more value if Giannis is out, because you could, what it does is it creates, higher chance of getting that back and forth, with Giannis out there. I mean, maybe like the Grizzlies could still get wiped off the floor. I mean, who are we kidding? This team is not going to be that great. It's basically a G League team.
DC, you want to break this down a little bit? And by the way, Saber just gave me trade Jemison tonight, so it's early. But I'm just saying.
I already did. But yeah, all the Memphis guys are awesome plays, and then depending on the Giannis news, most of the Milwaukee guys are too. I mean, if Giannis sits, like, you can definitely make almost your entire lineup from this first game if you want to pick out a late game, hope for the game stack that can get there. Yes, AP's right. There could be a blowout on the Milwaukee side either way, but Memphis is at home. I think the guys that are out there are mostly like younger players, right, who are probably going to play hard anyway on this last game, and you might catch the Bucks napping a little bit. So,
Holden, is this a test?
What's that?
Like Holden, are you testing us?
Well, I'm trying to get to an hour.
We all talk through the scenarios. I don't know if you.
We're at 35 minutes.
I don't know if you're over here like pulling a Mangone, like not listening to us or what.
Unfortunately, I am listening to you today, and I'm actually running through Saber here. And the problem is, there's no way you're going to be able to break down two games and do it for 25 minutes. AP, it's just not going to happen. And I know Schlong, dude. I'm not even going back to Schlong though, 100%, because he broke it down whether he's in.
No, make him do again too. Me and AP had to do it twice. Strong's got to go through the
I'm gonna
game.
give Schlong a pass on this one. I'm gonna give Schlong a pass on this one, guys. You know what, Schlong? Man. Why don't you take the second game here? Golden State and Utah. And obviously Curry has just been on a monster run right now. He's not a guy I think I've rostered that much in DFS, but on a short slate tonight and the way he has been lighting it up over the last 5 games or so, what do you see yourself doing with Steph Curry tonight? And let's break down the rest of the Warriors and Jazz. Schlong.
I mean, this game is super cheap, like all around, like for the projected total. I know Utah is a super annoying team. They've been slightly less annoying after the trade deadline. You know, they're playing Walker Kessler at center, which I like. He's only 5.6K. You know, he's getting upper 20s minutes every game. I think that's a decent play. Sexton, Clarkson, like their prices have come down. Keontae George has been starting. I like him a decent amount. The random guy that had a good game the other day is Horton Tucker. I wouldn't buy into that simply because, his minutes have still like been around like 15. Trey Hendricks, on a 3-game slate, I think he has like some upside. I'd rather play him than like a Horton Tucker. Chris Dunn, don't really like here. I know he's 4,300, but the minutes haven't been there since they've been starting George. So I would kind of stick to like Laurie, Collins, Sexton, Clarkson, Kessler, George would be my preferred Utah guys. Then Golden State, I mean, they've been playing great basketball recently, and this is by far the highest total of the night. I know it's at altitude in Utah, but they don't like a team on a roll like this in, Steph or Steve Kerr like needed them to get on a roll kind of, I don't think he wants to like mess up anything going into the All-Star break. So, his rotations are always a little weird, but I mean, Steph, Kuminga, and Draymond seem the safest in their roles. And then it's like Pods, Clay, Wiggins would be like the next tier of guys I would play from there. Saric, I don't really like. I think you can take a chance on Lester Quinones. I'm not saying his last name right. That was like a Mangone butcher of it.
It's fine. It's Quinones. No big deal.
On a 3-game slate, I think you can take shots on like guys like someone like him, for 3K. It kind of depends. Like if we get a lot of value in this first game, I'm not going to play like these total shit guys like Hendricks and Quinones. But if you don't, like if you get, say, I don't know, all the Memphis guys in and Giannis in, like I think it makes sense to like if you're playing like multiple entries to take shots on a couple of those guys.
Just want to hit the chat here for a second. Mark K, this is actually a really sweet 3-game. I love 3-game slates. I like the smaller slates. And then Javon Town wishes he had a wife. It's the wrong chat, buddy. Actually, you might want to get in on Discord because if you bring that up in the bets chat, I'm sure JBC will give you some great feedback. So RPS 15, if you want to get in, add the bet side too. And if you're a bettor and you're like, I'm on the fence here, it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing product. It's just $50 a month. I don't know when you guys are changing it, but it should have been changed already. It's a $500 product you're giving away for $50. It's just stupid. And I've told you guys this. AP, let's go. You get to game number 2. I'm not going to ask you twice about this game unless you do it in just a minute. Warriors at Utah. Can you start with Steph Curry?
Yeah, on paper, this is like probably the projected, easily the projected best game environment. 240 total. You got the Warriors playing great basketball, like Bryce said. And you have some really nice flowchart matchups here. Powerful, like big opposing bigs have just smashed this Utah Jazz team. Creates a really nice spot for Jonathan Kuminga. And also these teams recently just played, and Kuminga busted in this matchup this first time. And so I don't know, you often see people kind of hesitate to go back. They look at that little, BVP, how a team is doing against another team, and, create some hesitation. I love Kuminga here. I think it's an absolute smash spot. Smash spot for Draymond, 6,300, just too cheap. He crushed in 23 minutes, 42 DraftKings points, and was 2 assists shy of the triple-double. And I think DC, I think that was one of the slates we broke down, and we talked about the Draymond Green triple-double. So he almost got there. He was too shy. You hate to see it. It's also a good matchup for like a spot-up shooter like Klay Thompson. Klay had a ton of success in the first go here. A nice bounce-back spot after he was terrible against the Clippers in a game that, was far more meaningful. I don't mind going back to Klay Thompson. And Steph Curry. I mean, as far as spend-up studs go, Steph has to be on your radar. The guy has been lights out right now. It might be one of those slates where pricing doesn't necessarily matter. You might, depending on the Grizzlies situation and the value that we're going to get, I mean, you might be able to get whatever stud that you want. And Steph should definitely be on your radar. But there's like if he's going to be mega chalk too, again, we talk about it all the time. Like it's Steph Curry. If he somehow goes cold, he might not get there. And some better pivots might be like an Anthony Edwards or an Anthony Simons in the later game, or, a Dame Lillard if Giannis is out. So those are things to keep in mind on the slate for sure. On the Jazz, the other thing too is on these back-to-backs, and now it's kind of a moot point. I don't think it's going to matter at all, but you have seen Kerr extend the minutes. Like it seems like Dario Saric will get like 2 or 3 more minutes on these back-to-backs, taking minutes from some of the starters. Podziemski's been absolutely balling out. He's going to come off the bench as well, but he's a guy that can produce. These guys in those type of roles that are going to come off the bench are more riskier, but you're going to get them at much lower ownership. So keep those type of things in mind. I still think you can't really go to a Saric at all because 3,400, you can only play him at the center spot. We're going to have better value. We're going to have much better value. I would rather just get more of the better value on the Memphis side than taking on some risk with like a Dario Saric who's been pretty bad. And then on the Jazz side, wider rotation here, but they have consolidated things just a bit. Walker Kessler played 25 minutes in this matchup, 34.5 DraftKings points. The risk with Kessler in a matchup against the Warriors is the Warriors play slow, and they love to pass the ball. They play Warriors basketball, and, they can run a guy like Walker Kessler off the court. He is going to start. He is going to get some minutes, and so it comes down to, can he pay off his price tag in those 25 minutes that he gets? So just keep in mind the risk with him. I kind of like a Jordan Clarkson off the bench as well. He's going to play very similar minutes to Colin Sexton. You also have the positional flexibility, playing him with shooting guard or small forward spot. And then Keontae George. He should be looking for a rebound spot. He was a disaster. He got his first spot start, I believe, against the Warriors, and was an absolute bust in that spot. It was either the Warriors or the Suns that he started. But he was good last game against the Lakers. I expect him to come out motivated tonight. Keontae George, 4,700. Great price tag on him.
DC Jeffrey Epstein has come back from the dead. He just wanted to say hi to you.
Would you like to come see Jeffrey in the chat? And it has been a while, Jeffrey. I got a few days off during the break. So, yeah, maybe we can reunite at the island. That'd be a good time.
We get it. You like everyone on the slate. Actually, Israel, I would say that AP did the perfect breakdown because we're trying to get to an hour here. We're already at 44 minutes.
No, okay, let me handle this. This guy. No, let me handle this guy. I don't like Walker Kessler. Okay, why don't I like him? Because the Warriors play small ball and they're going to run him off the court. Didn't I just say that? Like I didn't say I like everyone on the court or on this slate. I do like a lot of pieces on the Warriors side. Jonathan Kuminga, Draymond Green, definitely 2 preferred. I don't think you need to force in Stephen Curry on the slate either.
Yeah, I asked you for a detailed breakdown and you gave one AP, so I'm proud of you. I think you did a great job. All right, let's get to the second game here. DC, Golden State. Really, when you think about it, there's not that much to pay up for tonight, especially if Giannis sits. But Steph at 9,600, Lauri Markkanen 8,100. Everybody else is cheap. What do you want to do with the top 2 guys first?
Yeah, I think you nailed it with the Giannis stuff. Like if he's out, the Memphis value looks so good, and then it's going to be kind of like people are going to be kind of forced into the same spend ups, one of which will be Steph Curry, which I don't mind. I mean, he's been awesome recently. I would expect him to try to finish, this first half of the season strong. Good matchup, obviously, against Utah. So, I guess maybe a little bit higher on Steph Curry than AP is. He'll be super highly owned, no question about it if Giannis sits, but I do like him. I do expect that good run of play to continue. And, it's the NBA. You're not going to leave a bunch of salary on the table, usually even on a shorter slate. So I'm in on Curry. He is my favorite Warrior. Kuminga would be second, Draymond Green third. I doubt I'm going beyond that with the great value that Memphis presents. And in the Utah side, I do think this is going to be the highest scoring, most competitive game on the slate. So you do, I think, want exposure to this one. I'm with AP, though. It doesn't make a lot of sense for Kessler to thrive. I think I'd mostly stick to the backcourt led by Keontae George, who, he has his ups and downs, but he does seem clearly like the guy that the Jazz, have kind of the most chips behind, right? The guy that they maybe want to build around going forward. So he's the guy I trust the most, and he's 4,700 coming off good game last night, and really he's been good in like 4 of his last 5. So yeah, I'm in on Keontae George, my favorite play on the Jazz, and I'll stop there. We don't want people, saying we're mentioning every player on the slate. So there you go.
I thought you would troll him and then start mentioning guys that aren't even going to play. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah, could have gone that route, but no.
Why would you not do that? I mean,
yeah. So a really good question. I'm curious to see what you guys both on slates like this one. So my standard for minimum salary is 49,800. That's almost every single slate. I did toy with opening it up a little bit at 49,500 on this slate.
Did you say 49.8? You won't leave more than $200?
Yeah,
that seems crazy to me.
Oh yeah. No, I want all of my lineups fully optimized to maximum, like to get as many studs or upper tier, mid tier range guys. Like I don't like leaving a lot of salary.
The reason for leaving salary is to not dupe, and like you're almost never duped in the NBA regardless. Like even I don't know how many like of these 2-game or 3-game night slates you play. I leave 49,700 unless it's like a super weird slate where like you literally can't spend the money. And I only have like, I think probably 2 or 3 dupe lineups a night. So I go to 49,700 on these slates.
What do you do, DC? What's the number?
49.5 is my standard. It also, I think, gives you a little bit more room to make swaps upward if you have some teams with a little bit extra salary. But I mean, no question, Strong's better at the multi-entry than I am, so maybe I'm making a mistake.
I mean, it's all slate dependent. Like, say Giannis is out here and, there's not shit to spend on, I could definitely see a 49.5. I wouldn't leave more than $500, though. That would be
especially with this Memphis value, man. Memphis could have like multiple guys that are sub 5K get there tonight, I think. But yeah, anyway.
All right. Very good. We got one more game to get to. Want to remind everybody, we'd appreciate if you hit the like button. Doing this little 3-gamer for free today. We do have playback.tv. Go there if you want to check out Big T and JSU do the Up to Lock show tonight. They'll give you a little rundown on Saber Sim, which is the optimizer that we use that you can buy as part of a package here at RPS. And if you do want to buy that package or DFS and bets, RPS 15% off your first payment. Again, 7:30 Eastern time for Big T and JSU on playback.tv. Schlong, I'll come to you first here for Minnesota and Portland. We still don't know about Ant Edwards. That's a question. Scoot Henderson, questionable as well. Outside of that, not really waiting on any injury news. So where do you want to start? How about with and without Ant Edwards? How about that as a good place to start?
I'm just going to go with Ant Edwards because I don't think there's any
chance
he's playing this game.
Okay.
He played the other day through the same injury. He's probable for shoot around. I think Ant's played an absurd amount of games this year when he's been on like the questionable tag. I think he's like 90%. And he went through shoot around. I don't really think he sits here. The Timberwolves wouldn't be 10-point favorites without him on the road. So, even against Portland. So I'm just assuming that Ant plays here. I think him and Towns are good spends. People hate hitting the the Q tag players. So I love playing guys like Anthony Edwards in this situation. You saw Mike Conley have a pretty solid game, especially on FanDuel, just because he had 5 stocks in this exact matchup 2 nights ago when we were wondering if Ant was going to play or not. And people just kind of got stuck into him and lucked out with that. I don't think he's like the best play at 5,200. His upside seems super capped to me. Jaden McDaniels is the guy I'd really be interested on this slate as a cheapie, especially if we don't get better cheap plays. He's 3,600. He played like ass in this matchup 2 nights ago, and it's just due to bad shooting. If you look at his stat line, he was 0 for 7 shooting. No one's ever going to have a good game if they're 0 for 7 shooting. So that's the type of guy I like to buy low on here. I think Gobert's in play. I like him more on FanDuel with stocks. But, you've seen him have just some massive rebounding games this year. And, yeah, that kind of does it for me. Alexander Walker, I think, is a pretty solid play. He's been playing, mid to high 20s minutes, and he's only 3,800. So don't mind him. I think Naz Reid is a guy that'll, make my pool, but I'm not in love with by any means. And then I had no interest in Slow-Mo personally. He's 3,500. Once again, these cheap guys in these later 2 games become a lot less intriguing if we don't get some of the value that we're expecting in the first game, or they become a lot more intriguing. Sorry. So moving over to the other side of the game, Portland. I actually like Scoot here. 5,800.
Okay.
He's been playing mid-30s minutes. That was like their number 1 draft pick. Seems like the type of guy that they'd want to get going a bit before the trade deadline. So yeah, I kind of like Scoot the best here. After him, it would be Grant, then Simons. And then, getting down into these shit Portland players, I'd really rather not do. I think Jabari Walker would be like a deep PPP play. Nobody's going to have him at 5K. He hasn't been playing the minutes, but if he plays well, they keep him on the court, and I think he does have a bit of upside here. DeAndre Ayton has actually been putting up some monster games. It's a really tough matchup against Minnesota, but he's still going to be in my pool. Obviously, Portland's kind of a dumpster fire and not really my favorite spot on the slate, but I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least leave these guys in for smaller amounts, even if you don't like them.
So we did have a question here in the chat. Big Ed, you guys sound like you're talking about DK. What about FanDuel? FanDuel doesn't give a shit about their DFS product. Now, I know you guys, DC, I'm not so sure you play them. I'm basically done with FanDuel. Unless they give me a free roll. AP, do you play much FanDuel?
Not as much as Bryce.
No.
Bryce is like
I play a ton of FanDuel. I try no stuff this shows DraftKings focus just because most of our users are on DraftKings.
Yeah.
I try and note if things are super off in terms of pricing between the 2 sites. And today, not really.
Okay.
The pricing's pretty similar, relative to everything else. It's just a little harder to fit in a Giannis on FanDuel, but his stock upside offsets that. So, what I've said for DraftKings pretty much goes for FanDuel as well.
Okay. Well, yeah. And then if you go to X, Mangone's on there right now. He's been complaining about FanDuel all day. Apparently he can't get on there. So, yeah, you know what, Big Ed, you're right. We should talk more FanDuel, but it's most of our players are on DraftKings. And if anybody has questions about FanDuel, we always answer those on the Up to Lock show. Actually, we go out our way to talk a little bit about FanDuel on the Up to Lock show. So again, tonight, 7:30 Eastern, playback.tv. All right, let's go, AP. Let's get your thoughts on this last game here, Minnesota, Portland.
Yeah, so this is going to be kind of where I get different on the slate. We talked about the other 2 games. There's going to be a million reasons to play those games over this game. The counter argument would be Like, let's just say Giannis is out. There's been times this year where he's been out, and we just haven't seen the same like Bucks team. And like Dame hasn't stepped up in those spots. So like the counter argument be, why is he going to do it now? Like just randomly. And then, the other game is the Warriors. They're obviously on a back-to-back playing 3 and 4 too. We know Kerr does all kinds of wonky stuff. This game though, so we saw this last year on this slate. I just remember so vividly. It was the shit teams right before break. It's almost like their coach gives them some motivational talk where it's just like, let's try to get one win, go on break, and we'll come back. We'll reset for the rest of the season, even though they got nothing to play for. Saw with the Wizards. Bradley Beal had that monster game last year in this spot. Saw with the Wizards yesterday. Like no Kyle Kuzma, Denny Avdia, Jordan Poole played awesome. Tyus Jones balled out. Marvin Bagley. I mean, they took the Pels all the way to the end of the game. I think the Blazers put up a fight tonight. DeAndre Ayton, there must have been some sort of spark ignited in him because he's been playing much better basketball. I think he's a phenomenal play tonight at very low ownership. Jeremy Grant, his rotation on this team has been extremely tight. The problem is they suck. They absolutely suck. You know what? I like the usage. I like everything I'm seeing. If the game stays close, I think there are paths where he gets there. Anthony Simons as well. Another guy who's just going to go completely overlooked on the slate. And then I'm with Bryce. I think Scoot. I think you look at those four guys on the Blazers side. It's Scoot, Simons, Grant, Nathan. All of the little like secondary pieces, you have better secondary pieces or value pieces in the Grizzlies game. So X them out of your lineup. The Toonami Kamara, X them out. Matisse Thybulle, X them out. You don't want to play those guys. I think even Delano Banton is a trap. I saw someone mention him in chat. I'm not buying it. Like Delano Banton, I mean, are we kidding me? Like there's better value in the Memphis side. So give me the Memphis value, and then I want the studs from these games. Even on the other side, Rudy Gobert is very, very much in play. Karl Anthony Towns as well, but it's Anthony Edwards is the guy I want. I don't care what the environment is. This guy shows up and will ball out no matter what. They could be like 1 in, 62 or whatever. And Anthony Edwards is going to show up and put the team on his back. So Edwards is definitely my favorite play on the other side of this one too. But the scrubs in this game, the even like Jaden McDaniels, I mean, I get the play for sure, but my source of value on the slate is going to be Grizzlies because I think that's going to be by far the best value. I think Warriors value, there's risk around it. Jazz value, there's risk to it. We know the rotation is going to be very tight on the Memphis side. That's where I want my source of value. And then the studs I want from these other games. That's how I'm playing it tonight.
DC, everybody is going to like the Memphis value tonight. Can you start with T-Wolves and Ann Edwards? And again, I'm with Bryce here. I think that line would be a lot different if they thought he was going to sit out. How much Ant do you think you'll have tonight?
Yeah, I definitely expect Ant to play and to play well like he almost always does. So I like him. These two teams did just play. We saw Ayton had the big game. My guess is that the Wolves come focused on stopping him from doing that to them 2 games in a row. So I like Gobert and I like Towns for a bounce back game. We saw people in the chat asking about him. He just played bad, a little bit of foul trouble, just didn't go his way. The bench went off. I wouldn't be shocked to see Cat bounce back in a big way here in the last game before the break. So I like him. Gobert. I don't know if I'd play those two guys on the same lineup, but I do like both. I think the Wolves play well here, and I do agree with AP. I don't see myself going to the value on this game. I think the studs are good. Gobert, I do prefer to Towns. Edwards is good, and then I like Scoot a little bit and Simons too, especially if Scoot ended up missing. I don't think he will, but in case he did. But I'm not going to Aiden. I think the Wolves deal with him well tonight. And yeah, mostly the studs on the Timberwolves is where I'm looking in this game.
All right, real good. Guys, we made it to an hour. I'm very proud of you. We got a nice crowd today as well. We got to get into our plays of the day, whether you want to give a spend up or a mid-tier or a favorite value. It don't matter. AP, give it to us, dude. What do we got for our play of the day?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna slide in and steal potentially third and schlongs. But I'm going Scoot Henderson coming off the bench, playing starter like minutes, 5,800. No one's gonna play him. Going to be you need those little difference makers on these type of slates. It's going to be Scoot Henderson for me.
All right, DC, Mom's Basement play of the day. What do we got?
He'll be highly owned, I think, but Vince Williams, I think, has a big game for Memphis, hit it into the break. I really just like what I've seen from him. I think he's a building block for Memphis, playing well right now, and I like the matchup, too, against Milwaukee for him. So, Vince Williams.
All right, what's play of the day there, Schlong? Mateo play of the day.
Mateo's play of the day was 100% Scoot Henderson. He's
Let's
little miniature. Mateo loves betting on the short guys. So I'll give you a little game stack here. Anthony Edwards on the other side of the ball. I think he can pretty much do whatever he wants to get support in the team. And price is very friendly on both sides.
GG Jackson. Give me some GG Jackson. By the way, what up, Mardon Yuzi? Big fan of Mateo over there.
Mateo hit his Detroit Mercy free bet on Twitter last night.
Did they win?
Yes, they covered. They won by 20. They were up 15 the entire game, Holden.
They hadn't won a game.
Yes, Mateo
won by 20. What are they playing?
Mateo's
like
Catholic.
A freaking high school team?
IUPUI, Indiana University.
IUPUI. Yeah, my sister went to school there for a year. She said it was one of the worst places she's ever been in her life. So, IUPUI, huh? AP, good to see you. I'm glad you're feeling better, buddy. All right, we'll be working again over next week.
Hey, bet on Nebraska on Saturday. So they've had the whole week off, and I think they're playing Penn State. Penn State's played like 2 or 3 games this week alone, and now they got to travel to Nebraska. And Nebraska's been a beast at home. Circle that game.
DC,
they're gonna smash
your ping pong Chinese food date with Mangone, and we'll see you next week as well. Hope you have a nice little weekend. And Schlong, always good to see you, man. Thanks everybody for watching today's show. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. We'd really appreciate that. 7:30 Eastern time, playback.tv. You can go check out what is usually our premium show. That'll be with Big T, JSU. They'll give you a Sabre tutorial, and they will give you the plays of the day and probably live bet the thing as well. So everything's going well over here. Thanks for watching. I'm Holden. Keep running pure.